Alright, so I know I don't upload a lot of Overwatch content to my channel, but I still play the game a lot, I still enjoy it. So I thought just kind of for a quicker video, I could go over the patch notes. I'm a little bit late to it, but that's just because I was doing some other stuff. So yeah. So it looks like for Diva, I don't play her a lot, so I don't know how much this is going to change the game. But it looks like they made her shield system is now base kit, and that shield conversion increased from 150 to 1,000. All right, that seems like a pretty drastic change, but I trust the Blizzard devs. They probably looked at the statistics and were like, yeah, we can probably make this change. All right, for Domina, it looks like she is lobbying for the Vishkar company in front of U.S. Congress, and she's temporarily been removed from the game. You know what? I like that. A lot of people have been complaining about Domina. I think she's like a scourge on quick play, so I get that. All right, so it looks like for Doomfist to match up with the Vendetta cinematic, it looks like his arm has poorly been stitched back on, and sometimes it falls off in battle, but Moira did her best. And then for Hazard, it looks like there's a little dev note here too. It says that we found that Hazard still has people picking him. We decided to solve that issue forever. Died June 16th, 2026. Rest in piss. Seems a little bit harsh. I didn't think he was the best tank, but he wasn't like the worst. For Ramatra, looks like they gave him huge man boobs. Wow. Wow, dude. Character gets better with every update. Alright, for Reinhardt, looks like they gave him a kiss on the cheek. And for a lore update, looks like he killed Brigitte to send a message. Okay, so maybe Brigitte's out of the game too? Like Domina? I'm not sure. For Zarya, it says, we honestly forgot shields in the game. Ability rework, projected barrier was removed. Oh, so you can't shield your teammates anymore. Looks like it's been replaced with a grappling hook for added mobility. Okay. I mean, she could already right-click rocket jumps, so I don't think that was necessary. But you know what? I see the vision. All right, moving on to DPS. For Onron, it says that they hate her, and that recovery for her Inferno Rush ability has been increased to 3 minutes, and Dancing Blaze is increased to an hour. Is that... Can you even play the game after using your abilities? Okay, so, looks like for Ashe, they're actually going to be replacing her with Bob soon. So to help ease the transition for players, all abilities and weapons for Ashe have been removed. Alright, you know what? I liked Bob more than Ashe anyway, so I can live with this. Alright, for Bastion, it looks like Null Sector has regained control over this unit. Now attacks everyone in the game regardless of team affiliation. Player unable to control Bastion. I thought they kind of forgot about Null Sector and the Omnic Crisis ever since Ramatra was added in. But it's nice to see that they still care for that storyline. For Cassidy, it looks like we have a lot of changes here. So it looks like he has developed stage 5 lung cancer. So that means he coughs every 10 seconds and is dealt 1 hit of damage every 2 seconds. Having to stop smoking, he now has withdrawal symptoms that make it harder for him to concentrate. And it looks like they gave him some new perks to go alongside this change. So he now gets a nicotine patch to help with the shakes. It reduces his bloom by 1%. And then chemotherapy major perk. Cassidy is taken away from the map to undergo treatment. 50% chance to subside stage 5 lung cancer symptoms for the remainder of the match. Alright, for Echo, it looks like her minor perk for partial scan, ultimate charge, has been reduced from 50% to 30%. And her full salvo major perk, sticky bombs are now fired all at once instead of over time. Kind of like a shotgun ability. Definitely is going to mix well with her beam. Alright, Emery, so it looks like they have successfully removed the Colonel Bog, and that his override protocol has just been removed. His ult. You know what? That's good for him. It's good for him. I know he's been struggling with that a lot lately. Alright, for Genji, it looks like his meditation major perk, his healing has been decreased from 35 to 0.5 per second. And deflect has been removed. Wow. I didn't think they'd go that far. Maybe they're hinting towards a rework in the future. Alright, for Junkrat, looks like he found a new partner in crime and broke up with Mako. Very sad for all the Roadhog players out there. Alright, anyways, for Reaper, looks like he has dematerialized in breach containment, and that he is loose in Blizzard HQ, and that we need to help them. Honestly, these patch notes haven't been that good. I don't know if we should help them. Alright, so looks like they're adding a new hero, Recruit. There's a little dev note. We found this poor fellow rotting outside Ubisoft Saint-Mond, so we decided that we could introduce him to a more loving family. So it looks like for his primary, they added multiple different weapons for him to pick from long-range rifles to close-up shotguns, and all the heavy LMGs in between. Recruit can change the dynamic of any battlefield. That's interesting. Looks like they misspelled field there, but you know, this is a new hero, probably still working out some of the kinks. And for his hero ability, it looks like killing enemies drops utilities for recruit to use, ranging from grenades to breach charges to open up new sight lines in the middle of a fight. And looks like for Sojourn, I don't know, her gun does like 2 more damage per bullet or something. All right, that's not the worst buff. That's not the worst buff. I think there's been worse. All right, for Tracer, looks like she has a melee rebalanced. Melee damage now does 1 hit point of damage. And then her kinetic reload minor perk has been reworked to refills her magazine to 100 ammo, but Tracer has to solo melee kill an enemy to receive it. You know how I was just talking about like not the worst buffs to receive? This actually might be a nerf, to be honest. I'm not sure though. We're gonna have to talk to Flats Overwatch about that. Alright, looks like for Vendetta, her ult cost has been reduced by 100%, but her ult now does 95% less damage. Alright. Alright, not the worst patch, not the worst. Alright, for Ana, okay, so it looks like we're getting back to some lore updates here. It looks like they aged her up by 5 years, and her movement speed has been reduced by 50%. Oh, Brigitte! Since Reinhardt killed her, I guess she's just dead now, yeah. So I guess along with her and Hazard, they're just not in the game anymore. I wonder how that's going to change the meta. Alright, for Alari, so it looks like for her Rapid Construction Minor perk, her Pylon is now 500% bigger with 700% more health. And the cooldown reduction increased from 1.5 to 2 seconds. Ooh, make it easier to hit those pylons. Although 700% more health, that seems like a lot. Alright, Jetpack Cat, looks like there's another dev note. Players were still able to kill Jetpack Cat, somehow. So they increased her health from 225 to 999, and her health is constantly regenerating. And it looks like at the beginning of the game, she has every perk and passive applied. Alright, Juno, so her Faster Blaster major perk, looks like it replaces her Medi Blaster with Recruit's LMG. Oh, so we're already getting some team dynamics with the new hero they added in. But it looks like this does not heal when shooting teammates, so that's interesting. You're going to have to rely on your other support or your torpedoes. So it looks like for Lifeweaver, with his Tree of Life, Ultimate now causes Lifeweaver to plant a tree sapling. Waiting 30 years for it to mature causes it to act like the normal Tree of Life. And for Mercy, it says, we don't know what the fuck we're doing with Mercy, Lamau. Chain Boost major perk, the more people connected to her staff, the more health Mercy has, up to 600% additional health. Okay, I mean, that's kind of makes sense, I guess. Alright, for Mizuki's ability, looks like his cooldown has been reduced from 12 to 10 seconds, and this allows him to wall climb while it's active. I know a lot of people have been complaining about Mizuki not being able to wall climb, and I think there's even a new voice line interaction referencing that, so this is interesting that they finally gave him that ability. Alright, for Moira, looks like Biotic Orb does more damage based on Moira's healing stat on the scoreboard. Ooh, encouraging Moira players to actually start healing. It's pretty good. So it looks like Wu-Tang? Wu-Yang has joined the acclaimed hip-hop group Wu-Tang and has changed his name accordingly. Alright, so that was the Overwatch patch notes. Odd note to end it on, but hey, these guys have been running the game for the past 10 years. Can't wait to see the next 10.